There was a time in my life when I felt like I was just always swamped. I'm Nikki, and this is Flying in English, where we're learning to speak real American English. Today's word is swamped. Swamped just means overwhelmed with a lot of work or responsibilities or just things you have to do, feeling super busy, and almost to the point where you can't handle it. Let's look at some examples. You can imagine someone who's on a tight deadline at their job and their friend is asking them to hang out, but they're like, sorry, I'd love to meet for coffee, but I'm completely swamped with deadlines this week. Or maybe you know there's a really popular restaurant in your town where the food is amazing. So perhaps the restaurant got swamped during the dinner rush and ran out of several menu items. That's actually never happened to me. I've never been to a restaurant that has been that popular. Then again, I live in a pretty small town, I guess. Or maybe you go on vacation away from your job, you're on PTO, and you come back and oh no. After returning from vacation, I was swamped with hundreds of emails to sort through. Oh, that would be horrible. I hate when my inbox is overflowing. Or maybe you're familiar with when there's a problem with a computer product and you have to contact the people in customer service to get help. Well, if it's a big problem with the product and a lot of people are contacting customer service, you might end up with a situation like this. The customer service team is swamped with complaints after the product recall. Ooh, that's like the most horrible position to be in as a business owner, right? Now let's talk about some similar words. One of them I mentioned in the definition of swamped, and that is overwhelmed. It's very similar to swamped, but it's a little bit more emotional than swamped. Swamped does have that feeling of overwhelm, but it's a little, you can actually work through it and you don't feel as intense. Overwhelmed is a little bit more intense emotionally. So you might think of a bride at their wedding day, trying to make sure everything is perfect and it's so many things to deal with, she might feel overwhelmed. On the other hand, swamped focuses on the workload, the fact that there is a lot of work. Another great one is buried. So buried comes from the idea of being under something, right? If you're buried in the ground, but we're not talking about that kind of literal burying, but you can imagine if you're buried in work, you would be like a ton of work that you have to complete and it's kind of over your head that you have to do it. Like that's pressure. You can feel that pressure. You're feeling buried, right? So buried also emphasizes, like swamped, it emphasizes the idea of a lot of work to do, things to do, busyness. It's also about on the same emotional level as swamped. It's not as emotional as overwhelmed. And of course, the difference with buried is that you're emphasizing the weight of something on you, being under something. Swamped is more like you can think of being in a puddle of mud. You're stuck in gunk of things to do. You're in the middle of things. You're not necessarily buried. The other thing that's different with buried really quick is that you can talk about it with debt or money problems. So you can be buried in debt. You wouldn't be swamped with debt. And the last one I want to share with you that's very similar to swamped is an idiom, stretched thin. So as it sounds like, imagine an elastic band that's being stretched and stretched and stretched. And as you stretch something, it gets thinner, right? So if you're stretched thin, it's like you're trying to incorporate and do so many things that you're like, can't manage. It's so much. So it emphasizes having so much to do with not enough resources or time. So this is a little tricky, the difference between stretched thin and swamped. Swamped is more focusing on the volume or the amount of the too muchness of the work. Stretched thin is focusing on the capacity or the space that you have, your ability to hold all of that volume. You're stretched thin. It's hard to notice the beauty around you when you're swamped with work. Being a workaholic is not healthy. I should know. I used to be one. It's better to find time to just be absorbed with the mesmerizing beauty of the world around you. Let's learn about mesmerize next. How about it? You can check that out in this video right here. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Keep flying higher, and I'll see you in the skies. Bye.